We have a second segment today where we want to discuss the roles and responsibility of presidential aides, ministers, special advisors, senior special assistants, and all of them. How much of the president or any principal's success or failures ought to be attributed to their aides? To discuss that with me today, I have a former presidential aide. He was the special advisor, media and publicity to President Goodluck Jonathan. I want to welcome to Inside Sources my friend, Mr. Niboro.
Thank you, Lalu. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
It's good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you too, my friend.
Thank you for coming. So, good. How much responsibility ought to be attributed to an aide for what happens around the principal?
The number one aide of the president in the presidential villa of Nigeria is actually the vice president, whether you like it or not.
You're correct. So
when we talk about aides, we should start from the vice president. Although they're both on the same ticket, if one goes, the other one steps in. But in terms of the construct of the Nigerian presidency, the concepts of the single presidency, we have the vice president is actually his number one aide.
I agree entirely.
You should, because you were there. Then, what will now be the roles and responsibilities of these aides, starting from that exalted office of the vice president?
Right.
These are very powerful people in their own right. They're very experienced and senior people in their own right. So the kind of advice they give, the kind of, their roles go beyond the advisory. Their roles are actually, in terms of policy, in terms of strategy, in terms of how to get things done. The president, no matter how brilliant, no matter how experienced, is just one man. And we have the age-old saying that two heads are better than one.
Well, two good heads.
Two good heads are better than one.
Yeah.
So you find a situation where the president must definitely lean on these aides. There is also the core team around the president, what they refer to as kitchen cabinet. Not all of them are actually appointees of the president. I saw one of your earlier, I think your first outing on this program.
Okay.
You interviewed Baba Akonde.
Chief Akonde. That's
Chief Akonde.
That was the debut.
Yeah, that was the debut. Well, when you are talking about the kitchen cabinet of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I think he's probably number one or two. I don't know anybody who's in front of him.
Interesting.
But he's not an aide of the president.
I think you're right. Yeah.
You see, so these people, so we must look beyond those people who hold letters from SGF office that say you are special advisor, you are special assistant, or you are a minister. We should look beyond them to even the vice president, and even to people, not just in this government, but people, metaphorically speaking, like Baba Akonde. They are there in different governments.
Like Mama Daura.
Under Buhari.
President Buhari.
You understand? Under Goodluck Jonathan, you had some very critical people. You understand? They are not appointees of government, but they have the ears of the president. They are on the president's first dial. So, how...
Important point.
Can the president discount advice from people like this? Except the president has compelling superior information, which usually he may have because he sits atop the entire apparatus of governance, including security, including intelligence, including the police, including the regular armed forces, including civil society, in a manner of speaking.
Right.
So he is himself a repository of lots of information.
Interesting.
Now, the president is going to have to play what he knows, the information he has, against the advice he's getting from this kitchen cabinet and these aides. So, you can talk about a special advisor, for instance. and say, okay, this is the role he plays. How has he played it? Has he played it well? That is within the remit of his office. But the advice he gives to the president, either in form of written memos or in form of oral communication, are usually between him and his principal. You hardly get to know. When it works out, the president shines. If it fails, well, sometimes he gives the president someone to fire. So it happens.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Ima, for that very useful insight. So, in the balance of things, and I like the fact that you brought in the vice president, of course, the chief of staff, and then people that don't even have formal positions, the influence that they wield on the principal, in this case, the president. Now, so would you say then, because I've heard this, that the president's challenges, are as a result, and I'm talking now of the current president. I've had quite a bit of buzz, around this town, that a major aspect of the President Tinubu's challenges are the people that are around him, especially the official aides. Now, how do you respond to that?
I must tell you, there is nothing that President Tinubu has done in the last 8 months that Atiku or Peter Obi wouldn't have done. Both men openly agreed that subsidy will go. Both men openly agreed that the naira will be floated. What we now need to look at is how it is being managed. Even the president acknowledges that there's a lot of difficulty out there. Nigerians are not finding it very funny because they've never had this kind of shock treatment, bam, bam, bam. But at one point, we probably need to grow up because we have always labored under the illusion that Nigeria is a rich country. And that, the only problem of Nigeria is leadership. No. The biggest problem of Nigeria is poverty. Because in terms of our resources, look at the so-called oil wealth. Look at it per capita. We are an embarrassingly poor country. But because, you see...
Well, people talk mostly, Ima, of the potentials.
Yes.
In terms of the natural resources.
Yes.
But more importantly, the human resources.
Yes.
And then, of course, if you look at our GDP, it's the biggest economy in Africa. So I think when people speak of our the riches of this country, I think it's more in that terms. And the challenge seems to be that people say that we've not been able to harness it. Right now, I don't know that there is a chief economic advisor. So do you think that is what is missing, based on your own experience? And I say this because I think under you can correct me, under the Jonathan administration, there was an economic management team, led by the president himself.
Yes.
But there was a coordinating...
was dominated by the private sector.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Good point.
While the administration came and did a public sector thing, I spoke again.
Yeah, but let me make my point.
Yes.
We have time. So Jonathan had an economic management team that was, a mixture of private and public sector.
Yes.
And you have people like Okonjo-Iweala, who were actually running things.
Yes.
You have now Governor Soludo, Governor Central Bank, where he started first.
And you had people like Aliko.
And then Aliko.
You had people like Femi Otedola.
Now,
you had these people because these are the actual operators of the economy.
Yeah. Okay. So because I'm beginning somewhere. So Buhari came and Buhari wasn't interested in having a management team, an economic management team that included private sector. And he's the president, it's his call. So the vice president was the head of the economic management team. up until the end of the first term. In the second term, all of that changed. Now, where I'm going is this. We don't have currently a chief economic advisor, and I'm not very sure that we have an active economic management team in place now. So the question is, whose responsibility is that? Is it the heads or the president?
The responsibility right now is to appoint an economic management team, a fully functional one, made up of people that Nigerians know, Nigerians trust. People who can now begin to explain things that are going on to Nigerians out there. Nigerians are a little confused. Nigerians are a little befuddled. Yeah. What is going on? Even people who are supposed to be, at the level of upper middle class, right, with, more than 1, 2, 3 degrees, are asking, what is going on?
Right.
Simple reason, there is no clear communication. So we need an effective guide, somebody that is going to take us through these things on a daily basis. The challenges we have are economic. Every other thing is responding to the economic challenge, including security.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'll ask you one last question because of our time.
Yes.
So when the story of what happened in this country in the presidency 2015 to 2023 is told, in my view, ultimately it's Buhari's name that is going to go up or down. Now, when the story of the tenure of President Tinubu is told, I think, and I'm just going to, you will respond and then we'll close it. I think the responsibility is going to end up on the head of the president.
The buck stops at the president's table. The buck stops on his desk. If it's good, like I said earlier, the president takes credit. If it's bad, in the reckoning of history, in the reckoning of posterity,
right,
it is the president. That is why the president must not spare the rod in dealing with people around him.
In the situations.
You see somebody that you need to correct him. And he has done very well so far. Look at some of the corrections he has made in the public space. Other governments will have been locked in arguments and conversations and discussions, like the issue of better do and co. I feel sorry for the young lady, but it is what it is. The president.
You must feel sorry for the poor people whose money got a mess.
I feel sorry for all of us.
It's good that we feel sorry for everybody. And thank you so much, Niboro, for that very insightful discussion. And hopefully, I think you come back, to give the balance and the deep insight that you have offered. Niboro, former special advisor to President Goodluck Jonathan, and actually an APC chieftain in Delta State.
Yes, I'm a national. I'm an APC chieftain at the national level,
exactly,
not in Delta State.
And that's true.
I function both at national and state level.
An APC national chieftain.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ima, for coming.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, viewers, for listening. That is another edition of Inside Sources. My name is Lalu Akonde. We return next week. Thank you.